All right, we're ready to start using the workbook to develop a business case for a retrofit of the headquarters building for a specific company. The first group of white worksheets are helping to flesh out the justification that's called do the right thing. That is to say, we're going to assess the extent to which the project is aligned with the purpose of the company and how it helps move the ball in the right direction on its sustainability related goals. We start with the overview and summary worksheet. This is going to be our home base for building the business case, and it's also going to capture the summary of the highlights from each of the business case elements. At the top, there's a reminder about the big three justifications. A little further down, there's a list of all of the business case elements that are in the workbook. These correspond to the tabs across the bottom. And a reminder that these things need to be aligned with the CFO's requirements that they need, or the finance department needs, in order to make a decision on the project. We talked about that in the last video. And then at the bottom, there's this business case summary. So there's a list of each of the business case elements, and the cluster that we're going to be looking at to begin with are the do the right thing cluster, having to do with purpose and the sustainability goals that the company has set for itself and the extent to which the project is moving the ball towards the goal line on each of those clusters. Beside each of the business case elements, there's a link to the tab that has to do with that element. It's also possible to get to that by just clicking on the tab at the bottom. So for example, if we want to start with purpose, let's click on that. Up comes the top of that worksheet. You'll notice that there's a bit of a description there. There's a reminder that what we're talking about is the purpose fulfillment aspect of the project. And then there's a big yellow box, and yellow boxes all the way through, yellow fields in this worksheet are fields that you need to fill in with information from the company, baseline information from the company. And what this is asking for is, what are the company's purpose, mission, values, principles, basic beliefs, the touchstone things that the company stands for. What we want to do is capture those there and then show how the project that we are proposing aligns with those things. After you fill in the yellow box from sources, either websites or documents in the company, it might look like this. And then you fill in the white box down below with how this project is aligned with or helping to fulfill those purpose, vision, values elements of the company. So this is a descriptive field. It's just an echo of the extent to which the project is addressing the purpose, vision, values, aspirational ESG or sustainability goals that the company set for itself. So it's just a nice, terse, succinct summary. The rest of this page, it contains a little bit more information on what you might think about when you're defining purposes for an organization. And there's an opportunity as well to just capture the summary of highlights of this particular business case elements. So let's fill that in now. So you'll notice that this is a pretty free-form kind of description. It fits in a little box here. And it's a summary of the highlights of this particular business case element. And you'll notice that after we filled that in, automatically back on the overview and summary sheet, it's been filled in here beside that particular element. So by the time we're finished, all of those highlights from the various business case worksheets are going to be here. The workbook automatically does that for you, and it provides kind of a dashboard of how the overall business case looks. So now we're ready to move on to the other worksheets that have to do with the extent to which the project is going to move us forward, progress on environment, society, that is to say community and customer goals, employee goals, and governance goals. It's very unlikely that any project is going to be able to move in the right direction or help us improve in all of those areas. So for this project, for example, it's related to a green retrofit, so it's likely that that is going to mostly impact environment goals in the right direction, not so much society ones, not so much employee ones, and probably governance will be included as well. So let's start off with the environment goals and see what how those goals might be improved by the project. So we click on the Environment tab, and that opens up that worksheet. In the left-hand column of this worksheet, there are a number of potential environmental goals that the company is aspiring to. They have to do with energy, greenhouse gases, water, material, etc. You'll notice that the comment at the top says that these are a starter set of environment-related goals, and they're based on the Future Fit Business Benchmark. You feel free to replace them with other goals that the company may have from the Sustainable Development Goals or other sources, and make sure that this is tailored to your particular organization. We also have an opportunity here to show the extent to which the company has moved towards that goal already. That's in the yellow column. And what we're going to do is also anticipate the extent to which we will have improved that progress as a result of this project. We want to work on elements of this that are relevant to the kind of project. So we're doing a retrofit, so it's likely that will affect the energy goal, the greenhouse gas goal because it's a green retrofit, maybe water, etc. So we zero in on those and fill in the performance score now on those things and the anticipated scores that we expect after the project. So you'll notice that I filled in the performance scores currently for energy and the anticipated improvement, and the workbook does the calculation of the difference between now and later. Operations emissions of greenhouse gases, again, a before and after. Water, a little bit better improved by this project. Waste as well. And I've left the others blank, and you can leave those blank. Down below, there's a summary of these. You can see the same numbers that were up above are copied here. And there's a bar chart representation of those results, the before and after, the before in yellow and the after in white. So you can get a graphical representation of the extent to which this project is improving sustainability performance and on which goals. You can also fill in the others so that the bar charts are the same length before and after, which gives a more complete view of it. So if you were to do that, you might go back up and fill in the appropriate boxes, and we'll see how the chart looks after that. So now we've completed before and after scores for all of the goals, regardless of whether the project is impacting them or not. The table below reflects all of those numbers, and the bar charts, in many cases, the before and after are exactly the same length because this particular project isn't impacting them. There's also a section down below which gives you a chance, or the company a chance, to remind itself that it's actually doing some good. It's not only doing no harm, but it's actually doing some good on various aspects of its environmental performance. It could be reversing its own negative environmental impact. It could be helping others to address theirs, removing systemic barriers. So there are a bunch of things that they could be doing. You may want to use this part of the spreadsheet to keep track of what those things are and describe them using the 5 dimensions that you see here, the what, how much, who, etc. You may also want to record things that the company is already doing to plant trees, restore brownfields, those kinds of things. And if this project has got something in that area, you might want to describe it here. So if there's a brownfield out behind the headquarters building that you're going to clean up as a part of greening the building, then that might be something which you would include here. So by the time you're finished, you're going to fill in a summary at the bottom to hit the highlights of whatever this project is going to be doing to improve performance on environmental goals that the company has set for itself, and you do that free-form description in this box at the bottom. So the summary captures the highlights, and that is also transferred to the overview and summary page that we were looking at before. It's unlikely that the green retrofit project is going to help the company's performance on its society goals or employee goals, but it may impact its performance on its governance goals, especially project level governance goals. So we can leave out those 2 sheets, actually these 2 sheets, society and environment, and go directly to the governance goals. As before, we have the before and after on a number of different project level governance goals. You can take a look at those and see if they're appropriate to your organization, change them appropriately, fill in the current performance on each of those things and the extent to which this project may be improving that performance. And by the time you're finished, it may look something like this. So now, now the numbers are filled in for all of the governance goals. I should point out that the way in which the scoring is done is in the small print underneath each of the goals. By the time you're finished, this sheet is going to look like this. The table will look like that. You've got the bar charts, and you can develop a summary that might be something like that. That summary, as before, goes into this one. So what we've got here is a complete set of business case elements for this particular project. We've left out the ones that are here because they're not affected by the project, and we're ready to move on to the next set of business case elements.